little context here. Lever's been operating since 2014, and one of our premises is that in order to build an ecosystem for entrepreneurs here, we needed to be in a position to attract risk capital into the area, investors investing in early stage companies, because capital is really the lifeblood of startups. That set us down a path, though, where we, as much as we'd like to be a big tent and welcome all comers, really only well equipped to support startups that can scale quickly and attract investment dollars. There's a lot of important entrepreneurship that doesn't fall in that category. Small businesses, owner-operated businesses, early stage companies that might one day scale, but there's not an obvious path to that. So we haven't been able to support all the entrepreneurs that we would like. And that's why we're so excited that E4All set up a group to operate in Berkshires, based here in Pittsfield. And why I'm really excited, we're going to get to hear from the executive director of E4All Berkshires, Deborah Gallant.
I'll bring up my PowerPoint, or someone will bring it up in a second, but I just want to say how this event has been fueling me. Yesterday afternoon I came and I think I met, 2 of my mentors, 3 of my specialists, 5 of my readers, my funders are here. It is such an energizing experience for me personally and for E4All to be able to be back out in the community, because I cannot help support entrepreneurs unless I have all of you. I keep looking, oh, there's Linda, oh my God, everyone is here. It's so fantastic. And behind the masks, it's really hard. E4All is what I was meant to do. I was, just a little bit of background on me, I was a freelance business coach, career consultant for many years, as also a trailing spouse following my husband's career. Found myself in 2017, 2018, in my house in Canaan, New York, saying, this is kind of tricky creating this business here in this place. And then this ad arrived. E4All is coming to Berkshire County. Now, little did I know that for, a year, 18 months before I was even made aware of it, there were people trying to bring this program, or bring a program to support small-scale entrepreneurship, to invigorate our economy, to Berkshire County. And one of my very favorite things to hear is, oh, Deborah, E4All, I've been waiting to hear from you, because there was so much groundwork laid before I came in. So I see Deanna Roofer from the city of Pittsfield, one of our big supporters. Peter Taylor from the Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation had commissioned a study to say, how can we bring back the economy of Berkshire County? And it was small business, and E4All was the answer. So they brought this program, they did their research, and I was the lovely, happy, generous, excited recipient of 3 years of funding. So it's like, okay, Deborah, take this ball and run with it. And I have been having such a good time with it. Anyone who's seen me on Zoom or in person will know that I'm excited. And those of you who don't know about E4All will know by the end of today, and then have the question, how can I be part of it? Because it's such an exciting thing. And the thing that I hear from the entrepreneurs, I didn't put these words in their mouth, is, I'm so glad I found you, because I didn't know who was holding the glue together of entrepreneurship and supporting us here in Berkshire County. And I'm delighted to be that connector. I'm an ENTJ, for those of you who know your Myers-Briggs. And this is how I get my energy from the rest of you. So E4All, the mission is accelerating economic and social impact in communities nationwide through inclusive entrepreneurship. Here is the list of the amazing people, many of whom are in the room, who made this possible. If they didn't, I would be in fundraising mode. And I can't tell you how grateful I am. And back to the concept of innovation, if I was in fundraising mode, I wouldn't be able to be as innovative as I am. So thank you for making that possible. And hopefully if there's organizations that say, that's interesting, I should support it, I'm looking for the next 3 years. Okay, so E4All started out of Lowell, Massachusetts in 2013. It was initially called the Merrimack Valley Sandbox, and it was an effort out of UMass Lowell, funded by Desh Deshpande, who's an Indian entrepreneur, Indian American, to help people in these communities. The kind of people that E4All helps, as Jeffrey said, aren't necessarily in a technology business. It's not necessarily a scalable business, but it's a homegrown, it's a Main Street business. It may have legs, it may grow. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about our entrepreneurs, and I think that you'll go, oh yeah, I've heard of that, because these are folks who are making inroads here in our community. So we are mostly in Massachusetts. That's where we started, but honestly, we're kind of at the saturation point with Massachusetts. Like, they're about to put one in Rhode Island, and the people in South Coast, which is Fall River and New Bedford, are like, that's a little close because they have people from Rhode Island. So we came in Berkshire County in fall of 2019. These are the numbers across all of the E4All sites. I wish I could take credit for all of them. I can take credit for some of them, but some of these numbers, if anyone's here, and I know there's a couple of bankers, know that the failure rate of small businesses is huge. 70% of all E4All businesses are still active in 3 years. Women-owned, BIPOC, immigrant, previously unemployed. Across the network, we have been very successful, and we're doing our part here in Berkshire County. When E4All was brought to Berkshire County, there were two programs, the two core programs that are across all of our sites. The Business Accelerator is a 12-week intensive program. We bring in 12 to 15 businesses or early stage businesses or a business that's in a pivot. A classic pivot example, I love to tell this story. Have any of you noticed that there's a scuba store on North Street in Pittsfield? A scuba store, wait, what's wrong with this picture? Well, actually, it's a family-owned business that had a really good track record of training people about to go on their honeymoon to get scuba certified so that they could go to Fiji and dive right in. Well, that ended at COVID. So Lori Rock, who's the owner of the family business, joined us, and her pivot was creating a business that does underwater gardening and pulling invasive species from local lakes, because that's something that you could support and you could still do during COVID. So businesses that are in existence but are pivoting are also welcome in E4All accelerators. We're starting our 4th cohort right now. We've run 3. We actually moved, this is kind of a detail, but from winter, summer to spring, fall, because we thought that worked better for the Berkshires, because everyone here is busy in the summer. And initially, when everything was in person, all of our mentors left town in the winter. They don't have to, they can leave town, it doesn't matter because we're doing it virtually now. Pitch contests have always been a part of how E4All recruits people. I will tell you, our pitch contests are a little different. They call them Shark Tank without the teeth, because they're friendly and they're meant to surface interesting ideas that people have and encourage them to develop them. They're fantastic in person. Linda was one of the judges for the first one. John was one of the judges. They're not so much fun online. So we have tapered off doing them, but we're going to do another one in person, if you have your COVID vaccination, on November 10th. So if you know anybody with an idea, we'd love to see them. And we've done Pittsfield, we did North Adams, and this new one's in Great Barrington. I personally thought after the 12 weeks of classes, we were abandoning our entrepreneurs. There's way more to learn about running a small business than you can learn in 12 weeks. So I initiated a deep dive series. Again, this is the freedom I have from having not had to fundraise. So at E4All Corporate, they're like, don't tell us what you're doing. We don't really want to know. Just run the accelerator and pitch contest. I do that, and then I do all this other cool stuff because I think there's more to do to serve our entrepreneurs. So this is across the whole network, and we've done some amazing programs. A program we did, a deep dive on getting certified as a minority or woman-owned business, had over 100 people attend live, and 1.1 thousand have watched it in a recording. It's something that you might need to know about, but you don't know who to go and get the advice about. So we make it accessible and available, and we leave those recordings up for people to access. Hiring your first employee, what a small business needs to know about cybersecurity. There's a lot of stuff you don't learn in a 101 level course, so we're offering the next level. Those are some of the topics that we've covered. I just want to tell you a couple of stories about our entrepreneurs because it really brings it to life, and you'll go, oh yeah, I've heard of them. So this is the big winner from our spring 2021. It's called Berkshire Worms. They create compost tea bags out of organic worm casings, and you put it in water, and you water your plants, and they are measurably healthier, and they're organic, and you can get a subscription to it. So this was them at the farmer's market telling people about it. We have Curtis, who's a beekeeper, and he just got a big grant from, well, big grant for him, $5,000 from Berkshire Agricultural Ventures to further his smoke and honey collective education about nature and bees. Mindy Moralia, probably the most successful E4All graduate. She was in our very first cohort in terms of getting press. She had a vision of creating hostels on the high road, which was going to be this opportunity to recreate the Camino de Santiago spiritual journey and hostels. Then COVID hit, and she had to pivot. She now runs something she calls Berkshire Camino, which are guided walking tours through the Berkshires. And if you haven't checked them out, they're doing really well. And one of her mentors, Paul, is here now and will tell you her enthusiasm. This is now 18 months after her cohort ended. They're still in touch. They still work together. The mentors are such a critical part of their success. And Valerie Chisholm, she was going to start an after-school program with tutoring. Then she pivoted to a nursery school. Now she sells online learning materials to all those moms and dads who are doing homeschooling. This, I think John mentioned yesterday, this is one of the things I'm really, really proud of E4All doing. And this is, again, coloring a little bit outside the lines. When COVID hit, we had our E4All Berkshire County Leadership Advisory Board meeting. And John Lewis, in his Zoom box, goes, hey, how come we're not helping people who are already in business, who aren't where they need to be with their digital presence? If you shut your storefront and you have no other way to communicate with your customers, you were really stuck. So we went and got funding from PERC and Mass Growth Capital, Berkshire Bank, Greylock kicked in some, Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation. We ran it twice, and it was actually really interesting. We did something, and John, I don't even told you this. My daughter's now at Georgetown in graduate school. Yes, that's my proud mommy boast. But she has something called a flipped classroom, where the professors tape the lecture, and then they use the live lecture time to work through the problems and answer questions. And that is kind of intuitively what we did. We didn't know we were doing it with the digital business because we brought the best minds we could on things like e-commerce and content marketing and email marketing. They'd have a lecture, and then they work in a supported pod for up to 2 hours. During the first one, we did it 5 days in a row for 2 weeks, and they came every day. And if it was the e-commerce day, they actually went and started an online credit card account. They built a Shopify website, and they hooked them up, and they started selling online that day. So if any of you know a small business owner who has that to-do list, fix my web marketing, got it off of their to-do list, and it got done. And we kept businesses in business that would have closed otherwise, and we educated a lot of people. And as John said, we got about 50 people through it in the 2 different cohorts. We're optimistic that we're going to get funded again to rebuild it, because here's the thing about web marketing, it doesn't stay still. So what we taught them last time isn't necessarily as valuable as it will be the next time. So we want to rebuild the material. Keep your fingers crossed. I hope we'll be doing that in 2022. Here's some of the other innovative things that we've done at E4All Berkshire County. We created weekly COVID coping webinars. Now that sounds like, oh gosh, that's old. You know what? In March 2020, it was pretty innovative to say, you're home alone, you're in a small business, you feel like you need support and information, and we gave it to you. We told you about how to get a PPP loan, why you needed a PPP loan. We did how to keep your spirits up, how to do marketing during COVID. And then when it got old, we stopped doing it. We don't beat dead horses. We try not to anyway. We did an education program with the Small Business Development Center. This is not us doing everything alone. This is us collaborating and cooperating and figuring out who else is doing smart things and working with them. We did a program called This is a Great Time to Start a Business during COVID, and we encouraged people to do it, and that was a great on-ramp to our accelerator. We ran an Ask the Experts program, and we're doing another one, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I do programs regularly with the Elizabeth Freeman Center and Mass Hire, Should I Start My Own Business? We just started doing a drop-in program at the Tyler Street Lab called Everybody's Business to get folks in the Morningside neighborhood to just walk in and tell us what their business idea is and see if we can help them move forward without an agenda, without any barriers. We even give them coffee and donuts. Thank you, Deanna, for helping us make that grant possible. We have an upcoming Ask the Experts program. In fact, I see Jesse here. He's one of our experts. We're going to let people who are in small business have access to the folks who they'd really, really like to ask a question of, but they don't have the access, or they don't want to have, they can hear the meter running in the background. Oh, I called my lawyer, $350 an hour. So we're going to bring in small supported groups those experts on accounting, on marketing, on law, on finance, on dealing with government red tape. We have Nate Joyner from the city of Pittsfield. You need to know what you need to know with permits. In a small group for free, we're going to give them access. That was another MGCC PERC grant. It was a COVID resiliency grant, and it was one of those things like Laurie McCall said, oh, we got it. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I actually need to run it. If any of you who know me know that I'm not a one-man band. I had a wonderful program manager named Casey O'Donnell who worked with me and was my right hand. He went and had a baby and went on parental leave and then got a promotion. So I've been doing it a little bit one-handed, but fantastic new program manager, Allison Schmidt, just joined us. So I'll be a two-man band again soon. And hopefully we're going to be launching an E4Ever mastermind support group for existing businesses starting in 2022. These are the numbers of all the people we reached, and this ended at the end of August. It doesn't count the new cohort. 134 individuals with over 5,900 hours of service. 82 people below the average income of the area. 86 were women, which is 64% of the total. Actually, our new cohort has 11 women and 3 men. So the men are in the definite minority. 22 were non-white, which is 16% of the total. So it overrepresents in terms of the minority population here. And we're really lucky that our sister site in Holyoke offers the program in Spanish called E para Todos. And Gloria Rojas from the Greylock Federal Credit Union's Community Empowerment Center is our own one-man band sending people to Holyoke, because when she meets somebody who wants to start a business and they don't speak English, she sends them to Holyoke. It's a virtual program right now, so why not? So, and a couple of them have been prize winners too. So I tried to put some lessons learned here. The first one, the biggest one, if you don't get community support and collaboration, you absolutely can't do this on your own. Again, I have a big personality, but it's not just me. And David Parker, the CEO, first time he met me, he goes, remember, Deborah, this is you bringing people together. It's not you teaching all the classes and doing it all yourself. And I need to remind myself that all the time, because really the power of E4All is all of you helping each other, helping the people at Tyler Street a mile away. COVID really took us out at the knees in terms of our outreach, because not everybody looks at Facebook and Instagram. So the outreach has to be in person. It has to be one-to-one. It needs to be sitting at Tyler Street, being at the farmer's market, and all the rest. You can't reach everybody with the same ways that you always have, at least during COVID. Here's one of my lessons. Everybody here knows everyone here. So I bet I have just 1 degree of separation from those of you who I don't even know here, but that can work for you if you remember that this is a program that can help so many people. So, I'm interested. Or you're at a picnic and you hear somebody starting a business and go, have you heard about E4All? You should be at the pitch contest, because that really is the power of E4All, is people telling other people. We would not be anywhere without the volunteers. And by the way, Paul, I need another mentor this time. Someone dropped out. He was taking a term off, but I think I might re-recruit him. But we use them for volunteers, for readers, for judges. Lenny, it's fun doing that stuff, isn't it? Yeah. So if you have any interest in any bandwidth, I would love to talk to you. Meet people where they are. This is back to the sort of DigBiz idea. It's like, if people need help with their web marketing, then help them with their web marketing. Figure out what their needs are and innovate as needed, but be flexible. So the Ask the Experts program, I was a little bit worried because Ben Lamb of One Berkshire is running a parallel program with cohorts and stuff. You know what? There's room for everybody under the tent, and there's room for all different kinds of learning. So let's just make it all as available as we can and make sure that everyone leaves here as a, do you know all that stuff that E4All's doing? You really should check it out. And that's how the word is going to spread. The other thing, and this is maybe just me because I live in Canaan, New York, I think that we're a region. And if I go look at the license plates out in our driveway, there's Vermont, there's Connecticut, there's New York, there's Massachusetts. And it's not like innovation or entrepreneurship ends at the state line. So I've done outreach to Hudson. Joshua Sherman is here with, he's from Vermont, but he owns Berkshire Magazine. So everybody is all in this together. We're all going to make it together. And so I've, again, been coloring outside the lines to welcome whoever wants this stuff and needs this stuff into the tent. A few things to just let you know about, and I have some flyers. Our pitch contest is on November 10th. It's going to be in person, and they're really fun, so I'll tell you that. The Ask the Experts program starts in October, and we hope to be back here on December 21st, COVID permitting, to not just celebrate the cohort that's going to be finishing now, but we want to invite the 3 from before and give them all a chance to table because they all got cheated of it because they were all graduated during COVID. So it will be a rockin' hall of entrepreneurship, and it'll be the holidays, and we'll bring food in, and it should be really fun. So keep an eye out for that. That's all I got.
Deborah, I'll ask the first question if that's all right. You talked about the sister program in Holyoke, and Berkshire County is challenging for the geography, and we're sort of long and narrow, and to get from North Adams to Sheffield is a real schlep. So I'm just wondering how it's going for you in engaging entrepreneurs from
That's a great question. So any of you who watched us from the very beginning knows that I took that on as my personal challenge. We ran something we called the Berkshire County Caravan, and we started in Great Barrington in the morning, gave everyone bagels. We went to Pittsfield at lunch and gave them pizza, and then we went to North Adams and gave them well, we didn't give them a beer because I'm not allowed to do that. We gave them corn nuts at the high-low. It's hard to serve our whole county. Going virtual has actually made it a little bit easier. So I feel it's really important when it's possible to bring them together. So we did our launch of our cohort upstairs in a big room. I think getting those 14 people to know each other really well and bond at the beginning is really helpful. And when Linda teaches us presentation skills, we're going to be back here in person. But for the most part, we're letting them do it virtually. And one of the gals from Hudson wouldn't be able to participate if I needed her to drive 3 times a week into Pittsfield. Yeah.
Great to hear all that you're doing. Where is the concentration of people that you're serving? Are they mainly Pittsfield, or is it really
So
spread?
Deanna Rufer would love it if they were all in Pittsfield, but they're not. Deanna's from the city of Pittsfield, and some of our money, community development block grant money, requires that I do have Pittsfield people. But it's actually, I would say, maybe a third to half are Pittsfield, and the rest are scattered all over. So this time I have the woman in Hudson, I have Dalton, I have Great Barrington, I have a Williamstown, that's right, North Adams. So they're all over. At the beginning, we were worried it was going to be too Pittsfield-centric because we did that first pitch contest in Pittsfield. But when I had 150 people show up in North Adams for our second pitch contest, I knew we'd made inroads. We put Dick Alkenbright on our board, and he's like a Energizer bunny up in North Adams telling everybody about it.
Can you tell us about one or two of the businesses that you're most proud of?
Yeah, I would actually want to tell you a story about Liam Gorman from Cosquest. So Liam was a television producer in LA who moved to Pittsfield to help raise his kids. His wife was local. He actually was a partner in Thistle and Mirth and sold it and had this idea of creating an activity that would help bond families and also support small business. And he calls it Cosquest. It's like a geocache game like Pokemon Go, but it supports local business. And he was like, yeah, he's going to just keep kicking it down the road. His mentor, actually, I don't think Karen was his mentor. So one of the mentors in our pool, Karen Pelto, worked for Downtown Pittsfield, Inc. And she saw him at the Progress pitch in October and said, wouldn't it be great for Small Business Saturday for you to run a Cosquest in downtown Pittsfield? And he was like, I don't have an app built. How am I going to do that? You know what? He went and built himself a Squarespace minimum viable product that worked with QR codes, and he was off and running, and he ran it successfully then. He's done farmers markets, makers markets, Norman Rockwell Museum, Hancock Shaker Village, and thank you, Joshua. He was just named one of the top 25 people in Berkshire County. Now, he's not making any money. He may be covering his expenses, but if he can now get himself to the point where he can get a funder, he has proof of concept, and turn this into a franchisable idea, he could be running these Cosquests or teaching people to run Cosquests in all different markets. And I think he'll have something that actually maybe is more like a lever kind of a business that is scalable. Right now, hey, Liam, I'm boasting about you. He's done some amazing things, and he'll be the first to tell you it wouldn't have happened if he wasn't an E4All and we didn't move him down the field. And otherwise, it would have just stayed on his, yeah, this is a good idea, I won't do it. And you should ask him more questions about it. And he has a fall foliage hunt on October 9th that we'll be participating in. It looks like my time is up. We have flyers over here. Please stop and get one. If you're interested in learning more about volunteering, attending our events, I'm very accessible. I will always meet anyone for a cup of coffee at Dottie's. Thank you.